Wow. Hello everyone. Now if you saw my original build of this beautiful baby over here, you may have noticed that I didn't put any fans in it, and you may have been going, what? No fans? It's gonna explode into a ball of fire and blow up. Well, obviously it won't, but the temps are on the toastier, hotter side of things under load. So the reason I didn't put in fans right off the bat is that I just didn't order any. I did have some fans in my old Lian case, but they were just regular old fans, 3-pin fans, no PWM, not fancy, and it was only 3. And I really wanted to have at least 4, because what I wanted to do was 1, 2, 3 intake, and then at least 1 on the top, and maybe later even something more than that. So what I have for you today is just a little bit of a cooling update. Now I have some more updates coming soon. There's a couple things that I have my eye on in terms of updating. For one thing, RAM. So I'm going to be getting a new kit of RAM. Pretty sure it's going to be the HyperX Predator, 32 gigabyte, 3200 megahertz kit. And right now, I originally was looking at the regular non-RGB kit, but the HyperX Predator 32 gig RGB kit is only like $10 or $15 more. So I figure I will just get the RGB kit, because why not get some extra bling in there, right? So I didn't have any fans in here at first, but I did order some, and I did get them a few days ago, but I just haven't gotten around to looking into it yet. So I got F12s from Noctua. And yes, I understand the F12 fans are geared more towards radiators, but the reason that I got them is because obviously these are very expensive fans, very nice, and so I wanted to have the radiator-oriented fans for the future in case I decide to do anything with radiators in the future. I will have them, and I can reuse these fans again on the radiators and have the optimal performance on the radiator. So these are my beautiful F12 fans. And now for lighting and for fan control, I have my eye on the Corsair Commander Pro, and I like this for a couple of reasons. One of them is because obviously it gives you a really high level of control over everything, and you can plug a bunch of fans into it and a bunch of lighting into it and set up predefined or custom curves for the fans, and you can also turn the fans completely off. And the completely off part is something that I really am attracted to, because obviously, you know, you have the fans in there, and when you're doing a heavy load situation, like an encoding situation or a gaming situation, that's when you want to have all the fans ramping up. But if you're just sitting there, obviously I've been running this machine for like a week and a half without any fans at all, and of course it's been fine because I've been mostly just doing regular web browsing and stuff. So I want to be able to have the option to turn the fans completely off in the case and only have the CPU fan running. But I haven't got the Commander Pro quite yet, and I haven't got the RGB strips yet. But what I did get, because I don't have enough RGB headers, or sorry, PWM headers on my motherboard, but what I did get is basically just a pretty simple, straightforward AeroCool 10-port PWM hub. Now this is powered, and then one pin goes into a motherboard PWM, and then all of the fans you can connect up to 10, and all of the fans will run at the rate that the motherboard header is sending it. So I can still have the automatic control in a basic way, and this wasn't too expensive. It was only like $12. So in the meantime, until I get the Command Pro and get that going, I will still be able to have these 4 fans in a PWM automatic controlled situation.
I'm pretty excited.
All right, guys. So this is gonna be just showing
to help offset the cost.
me putting the fans in, which obviously is not that exciting, but I just want to show it anyway.
We should definitely go.
And obviously, apologies for the background
get food or something after.
noise. So
for sure.
top panel.
I'm definitely gonna have stuff to say. I haven't even watched a single trailer. I already know I'm gonna have stuff to say.
I've been trying to stay away from it as much as possible. All I've seen is the
And then if you look in,
I'm not even going to.
you'll see that it has a nice fan filter on top there.
High-performance computing benchmarks. So this was posted by Lily W on the forum, and the original article here is from servethehome.com. I love the URL. Patrick, you are a gentleman and a scholar.
One thing I want to say before we go into this.
Yeah.
The last time we talked about Intel stuff, and you and I
I will say that I really like how all of these panels come off and how they go on. In this case, I showed it. If you look at the unboxing video, I showed it. But basically, it's like a nub, a bunch of nubs on the door, and they slot in, slot down, and then the top panel slots in and basically locks them all in because it covers all the tops. And then all of the fan filters are nice magnetic fan filters that can come off and on just with magnet. Everything about this is just really beautiful and
I've been super sick. But
really just a beauty.
I love this. Patrick, you're great.
What a beautiful
Intel-performance-strategy-team-publishing-misleading benchmarks. Whoops. So they published a set of benchmarks showing the advantage of a dual Intel Xeon Platinum 9282 system.
All right, so I'm just going to show.
So our buds over at Serve the Home noticed the numbers looked a little weird, particularly
the
Gromax Geomean test in the life and material science section. A 20% delta seemed kind of strange.
I guess I'll tear it off because it tells me
the last time I met with a bunch of Intel people
or
stuff, I brought up Serve the Home.
So following the footnotes revealed that Intel had used Gromax 2019.3 rather than 2019.4,
and I also will say
that has been out since October 2nd and includes a fix called AMD Zen 2 detection.
That I have been running this, and I understand there's no case fans, but I've been running this for a couple weeks, and there's no signs of death yet. So that's good. Okay, first of all, this is the hub, and this is nice and small. Good stuff. And then another nice thing is they even include a nice little piece of Velcro for you. You stick the Velcro onto here, and you stick it onto the case, and then you're all set.
Similar stunts on several other tests, including using
you're all set to Velcro the thing to the case, which is great.
And they can also run this stuff on like Windows XP, and it wouldn't be an invalid test. It just wouldn't matter.
Okay, so yeah, using ICC compiler, using lower thread counts with AMD, using old Linux kernels.
Yeah, okay,
I guess
that was pretty much my point.
Pop the first fan in the top,
PCI Express Gen 4.
And what I have in mind is that I've never particularly liked screwing fans in with the screws, because, you know, obviously the fan cage, or frame rather, is made out of plastic, and then when you screw into it, you're creating new holes and grooves, and you're basically smashing that plastic hole into pieces. And obviously, if you just put them in one or two times or a few times, it's fine. But one of the things I like about Noctua fans is they come with these little rubber things that will allow you to install the fans without screwing them in with the actual.
I didn't publish these numbers immediately.
You're right.
screws. So I think I'm going to use that.
Make its way through legal and all that.
Yes. So dot 4 might not have been out in time. I know it was October 2nd.
And of course, Noctua fans always come with nice splitters and low noise adapters and even an extension cable to make the cable longer if you need it, which is all great, nice things to have. And you know, when you buy a bunch of fans, like I just bought 4, and so you'll end up with like a whole bunch of these long extension cables and splitters and things that you can use in other situations later if you want to.
I hadn't even read that part when I made my like Windows XP joke.
So,
and that just hit
so
home so much better.
That's that.
I don't know. This is not cool.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the answer is for Intel to stop publishing benchmarks of their own products.
And then these fans
and like this
have that sickening
like this with
fixed blade situation, which I really enjoy.
Every single time they're ever brought up on WAN Show, we go, wait till reviewers get it, because it's like very
problem too, though.
So I'm just going to put it into the back.
Like the industry needs like a performance evaluation consortium.
You know, no particular reason why. Just I figured it would look a little bit weird if you put it like in the middle, although
than just some
maybe not. Maybe it would look.
It's been
maybe
pretty much
look
impossible to use off-the-shelf software in order to evaluate their performance, because nowadays, especially through a combination of DRAM caching and operating some of the flash in SLC mode and some of it in like freaking TLC
there's ways to manipulate stuff.
QLC mode. There's ways to tune an SSD such that 98% of the time in a consumer workload, it'll perform like hot beans. Whereas in that one sort of exception, like say for example, you've got a CFast media card plugged in via USB 310 gig.
I know, this is very exciting, right?
And your performance just tanks. If there were tools that were more easily accessible that would help the average person understand the performance of a product versus just the specs, I think that would be to the advantage of consumers everywhere. And the only reason to keep all of your benchmarking tools private and in-house would be if you don't want anyone else looking at them. And so I remember telling Intel at some point, I was like, look, creating an IO trace is a little bit above our level right now. This is a tool that once you know how to do it, is as simple as doing a bunch of things and then seeing how quickly the drive can run its way through it.
You know,
could you guys like
if you want to pull it out, you
create that
can,
tool
but
and then decision of sort of what sorts of workloads we feel are important for our users? And they were like, oh yeah, that seems like a cool idea. And this was just a lower level person I was talking to. I didn't really expect it to go anywhere, and it didn't. And so this is a great example of how, you know, it would never happen. But what we really need is for Intel, AMD, you know, throw IBM.
I guess once you get all 4,
to get together and say, okay, look,
more
how are our customers actually using our products? How do we help them make educated decisions?
This is how we're going to test it. We're all going to test it this way.
In the meantime, though, I guess, you know, just read Serve the Home.
Yeah.
All right, this is probably our last topic for the day, because I think my brain might explode if I try and keep talking after this. The original source is The Guardian, and James Dean will apparently be resurrected for a new Vietnam War drama.
Well, there we go.
Okay, stop.
We got it.
Laptop screen's down. What do you think?
With these.
I hate it.
Yeah, okay, sweet.
Little,
I think we agree. We can open up again. I wanted to see if you disagreed with me. This is nuts. Apparently his like family licensed his image, I guess.
Now these are actually a little bit longer. So I wonder if the I guess you could do that. You could put the little nubs into the hole on the other side.
To be fair, at the same time,
or you could just
can I still be hosting tech videos in 100 years?
And you don't get to be okay or not okay with what you say.
Yeah, because like acting in film is art.
Yeah.
Alright, well there you go.
Tech cookies art, but even if
probably I'm just gonna cut it here, and then I'm gonna put in the 3 other fans, and then I'll come back, because obviously it's gonna be really long if I don't
Like there's a,
But there
I think
we
it's a
go.
different level.
I started by saying I was gonna put it in the back, and then I said, oh, it will look weird if I put it in the middle.
Right?
And
So like whatever hologram 2-pack.
but I do have it in the middle, right above the CPU to,
That's because I can't talk probably.
you know,
okay?
suck
That's
up that CPU exhaust.
To participate in that
And,
particular performance.
you know, I can always move it.
There's
So I'll be back
association
later
with
with
their
the rest.
brand that every artist has.
Alright, so I did that pretty messy and fast, but you know, I'll tidy it up better later. Now I didn't end up, I used those quick things here, which, but I didn't do them here because I found that they were really hard to pull through the hole, and also it was tight, and I couldn't really get my fingers in to pull them through, especially on this side. But anyways, that is, that's that. Here we go. And you can see the fan thing, I just shoved it up there, and everything is not particularly tidy or neat or anything, but you know, you won't be able to see it anyway, so it's not that big of a problem. So I got the 3 fans on the intake here, and they're all on PWM, being controlled by the one PWM control from the motherboard, and then I'll be able to set up the curve on the motherboard that will take care of that. Sorry, I'm so shaky, I shouldn't be so shaky. Alright, here we go. So I got the one exhaust at the top to just help that hot air rising to the top to get out, and then the 3 intakes, so then there will be a positive air pressure inside the case, you know, more air coming in, which makes the dust get kind of pushed out naturally, which is good. So that's that, and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, I'm just putting the panels back on, but I figured I would just let you see that happening. So I've got the filter back on here, and I got the front panel back on. I'm just starting to put the rest of the stuff back on. You may probably notice that I have not taken off the protective cover on the glass yet, and the reason is no particular reason. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet, and I don't want to get a whole bunch of fingerprints on there while the case is still kind of getting popped open to do some work on it still. So I figured I'd just leave it until I'm done getting all the work done. So that is very quiet. It's not, it's really not even very much noticeably louder than it was before. The fans are only running at 690 RPM right now, and these are, I believe they are up to 1500 RPM. Yeah, so 1500, and the minimum speed I believe is 300. And they're running at 600-ish right now. And the temps are way better already, which is really nice to see. Alright. Well, there you have it, baby. Air cooling dream.
You go get the game for yourself.
Wow. That is so beautiful. So I've always had like a really big fascination with intakes and exhausts. And so sometimes I just like to feel the air coming out. And then I take it.
It feels like I have a friend that died, and I'm able to
Take it around the back.
So to have him come back, it's just insane. It's such an insane
feel
feeling.
it
I'll never
coming
understand
in.
it, David. You're too much of
Just
a
sit
pussy.
there. Yeah.
You want to listen to Rihanna?
Sure. I feel good because my temps are low.
And he went away to prison. Now he's getting out, and now we're gonna do YouTube. So,
Alright, baby.
all right, David.
My temps are low.
It's midnight right now. We're gonna pick him up at 6 a.m. I
80s.
want to make sure everything is perfect. So I'm
And there's
bringing
one up
you
here too.
And Jason, the
For
funniest
an
guys I know.
exhaust.
But yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. I'm super excited.